Okay, so the process that is responsible for reduction of carbon dioxide into a sugar molecule is known as the Calvin cycle. It happens in the stroma of the chloroplast, just
Yeah.
like the Krebs cycle and the link reaction used to happen in the matrix of the mitochondrion. Acha. Another similarity of this cycle with the Krebs cycle is that Krebs cycle was also dependent on a large number of enzymes which were already found in the matrix. Similarly, we have lots of enzymes in the stroma which will be catalyzing reactions that take place in the Calvin cycle, right? And in order to go through the Calvin cycle properly, we have to go through this page. So basically, we can divide the Calvin cycle into three phases or three stages, you might say. The first stage is the acceptance of carbon dioxide.
Okay, so then the carbon dioxide
Acceptance
is
of carbon
combined with our ribiculous biphosphate, right?
ribulose bisphosphate.
Ribulose
Ribulose
bisphosphate.
bisphosphate.
So the RCO2 is added to this.
RUBP.
Yeah, so okay, so I can write it as RUBP exam maybe?
Bilkul, bilkul.
So we're adding the CO2, which is 1 carbon, to our RUBP, which is 5 carbon. And then we are forming. Okay, and then Miss, I need to know that enzyme, right?
Yes, the name of the enzyme is
Ribisco.
Rubisco. You can call it Rubisco or you can call it RUBP carboxylase.
RUBP.
The reason we are calling it carboxylase is because it's adding carbon dioxide.
Yeah. Okay. So we're using that enzyme to catalyze that reaction. And now the 6 carbon product, banana, is an unstable intermediate, right? So this will then break down into 2 molecules of glycerate phosphate, which I can just call GP, right?
GP.
So this is our first product of photosynthesis. The enzyme ribulose biphosphate carboxylase is present in large amounts in the chloroplast stroma and is in fact the world's most common protein. Okay, nice fact to know. Okay.
Why would you say it's the world's most common protein?
Because miss itni sare wo hai plants and
exactly.
itna chota hota hai.
Exactly. Achha. And another thing, so this means that the first stage in the Calvin cycle is the acceptance of carbon dioxide, or in simple words, you might say it's the carbon dioxide fixation. So hum kar kya rahe hain? Wo carbon dioxide, that carbon dioxide which is entering a plant leaf through the stomata, it will now combine with ribulose bisphosphate, 5 carbon sugar, and water in the presence of this enzyme to form this.
सही है तो हमने अभी 2-3 carbons हमने वो बना दिए so this will be from 2 GP so that's our first stage, right? So that's our first product of photosynthesis.
Achha, now you tell me, have we used up till now, have we made use of the ATP and the NADPH that we got from the light dependent?
No, abhi to not yet. So now we're going to use the reducing power of the NADPH and the power of the ATP to then convert this glycerate phosphate into 3 carbon sugar triose phosphate.
So we want to reduce GP to TP.
Yeah, okay, yes. So I can just simply write in the reduction phase, we are using the reducing power of the NADPH and power of ATP to reduce GP to TP.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
But then you have to know, इसमें थोड़ा simple तो है, लेकिन थोड़ा सा इसमें detail ऐसे पढ़नी पड़ेगी कि you have to know the difference between GP and TP. If you look at GP, it's a glycerate phosphate because it's an acid. इसका नाम ही है ना glycerate phosphate.
Yeah.
लेकिन ये जो है ना triose phosphate, it's a 3 carbon sugar.
Okay.
Okay. सही है. TP is a triose phosphate. It's a 3 carbon sugar. It contains an aldehyde group. और उसमें जो है glycerate phosphate में जो है वो एक carboxylic group है तो इसलिए वो acidic है, right? अच्छा, and then also go through this paragraph. इसको पढ़ो, the reducing power of NADP.
सही. Wait. The reducing power of NADP and energy of ATP are removed to remove oxygen from GP. So reducing it. The reaction takes place in 2 stages. The first using some ATP used in light independent stage, and second using all the reduced. NADP produced in this reaction. Okay. The overall effect to reduce a carboxylic acid to an aldehyde group, the product is 3 sugar phosphate. That is sugar with a phosphate group attached. This contains more chemical energy than GP and is the first carbohydrate made in photosynthesis. So essentially what we're doing, the हमारे sugar triose phosphates हैं, this then requires not our triose phosphate, sorry, हमारे जो glycerate 3 phosphate है, we're using the reducing power of NAD, not NAD, NADP, and we're using the power of ATP to then remove the oxygen from the GP, and then remove the oxygen from the GP. So yeah.
To convert it into
Do I need to
TP.
know these? Do I need to know how the reaction takes place in 2 stages?
No, you can just remember that it takes place in 2 stages, but basically we just write a summarized equation like this. Acha. Now the logic behind this. You can be asked the logic behind this. What's the purpose of converting GP to TP? The purpose of converting GP to TP is that TP carries more chemical energy as compared to GP. Okay? And we want to make a substance because hum kar kya rahe hain? The goal is to make food, right? And the plant is producing food. So we need a chemical substance which has more chemical potential energy so that it can be used by the plant for its own nutrition. And then, of course, we are also going to consume that. Okay? So इसीलिए हमें GP को, which was a carboxylic acid, we want to convert it into a sugar which carries more chemical energy, and all that can be achieved by the power of the ATP and the reducing power of NADP. Finished. That's it.
Perfect. Done.
Okay? And now, so this means let's go back. Stage 1, acceptance of carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide to our RUBP. So then our RUBP then forms an unstable 6-carbon intermediate. This then breaks down into this is catalyzed by the enzyme ribulose biphosphate carboxylase, or Rubisco. Now our unstable 6-carbon intermediate is then broken down into GP, which are 2 glycerate phosphate molecules which are slightly acidic. They contain C double bond OH group, so it's a carboxylic acid. GP, no. Now the power of ATP and the reducing power of NADPH then causes oxygen to be removed from GP. TP has more chemical energy than GP, and so GP is converted into TP as TP has more chemical energy, as it is a sugar.
Correct.
So we then form two TP molecules, right?
2 तो नहीं है. हाँ नहीं 2 ही होंगे, इसलिए कि 2 GP थे तो 2 TP होंगे. ठीक है.
सही.
अब now the last thing is, जैसे हम वहाँ पे करते थे ना photo activation में, we used to have a mechanism so that every time the electrons that are lost by the photosystem 2, they should be replaced by the photolysis of water. Similarly, over here we should have a mechanism which would continuously regenerate the carbon dioxide acceptor on RUBP. Because अगर हम पीछे जाएं तो the carbon dioxide acceptor was RUBP. ठीक है ना? अगर हमारे पास कोई ऐसा मैकेनिज्म नहीं है जिसकी वजह से RUBP रीजनरेट ना हो रहा हो, so time will come when all this RUBP will be finished. So we have to have a mechanism of regeneration. And how does that take place? The textbook is saying that
some point जहाँ पे our RUBP is completely saturated, right, with the CO2. So we need basically. Okay, so some of the triphosphate has to be used to regenerate the ribulase biphosphate consumed. So this process involves a complex cycle containing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 carbon sugar phosphate. It is here that the remaining ATP is used. Acha, so then is जो Calvin cycle में यहाँ पे the remaining ATP is then used. Okay.
Look at this diagram. This will solve your problem. Instead of reading the text, just look at the diagram.
So basically, we're starting off from the top, right? तो ये हमारे H2O CO2 molecules यहाँ पे add हुए. तो अभी इस point पे हमने intermediate को वो बना दिया है. हमने GP बना दिया है. Now GP से then NADPH H plus की NADPH की reducing power, ATP की power से then हम TP बना दिया है. सही है. तो यहाँ पे फिर 18 ADP and inorganic phosphate बच गया और NAD plus and H2O बच गया. मिस इसके आगे फिर एक्सप्लेन करें क्या?
अच्छा मैं करती हूँ. देखो, now look, everything which is outside the box, this box is light dependent reaction, and everything which is inside the box is light independent reaction. ठीक है? Look at the substances which are outside the box. Outside the box क्या क्या है? Left hand side पे देखो, 6 water molecules, 6 carbon dioxide, है ना? वो बाहर है box के.
Yes.
और फिर वो अंदर आते हैं बॉक्स के, तो जैसे ही अंदर आते हैं तो इट मींस दे आर कमिंग इनटू द स्ट्रोमा, और स्ट्रोमा के अंदर आपके पास पहले से ही पड़ा हुआ है क्या, आरयूबीपी।
RUBP सही है।
आरयूबीपी हाँ फिक्स कर लिया, 12 जीपी बने, 12 जीपी से 12 टीपी बने। अब क्या हो रहा है कि जस्ट हैव अ लुक, आउट ऑफ दोस 12 टीपीज वी आर जस्ट यूजिंग 2 टीपीज टू फॉर्म शुगर। आगे जाके 10
सही है।
टीपी हम क्या किस लिए यूज कर रहे हैं, दोस 10 टीपीज विल बी यूज्ड टू रीजेनरेट व्हाट, आरयूबीपी। अच्छा, द मैकेनिज्म ऑफ रीजेनरेशन जो ये पूरा लिखा हुआ है ना, ये भी और ये सब, यू आर नॉट सपोज टू रिमेंबर, बस इतना समझ जाओ कि out of 12 TPs, we are using 10 TPs to regenerate what? RUBP. Acha. Does this regeneration require energy? Yes, it requires energy because it's so obviously shown कि हम ATP को break down कर रहे हैं. This is not ATP synthesis. This is ATP hydrolysis. समझ आ
Hydrolysis
रही है?
so that's where the
हाँ,
remaining
बिल्कुल.
is used. सही है।
हाँ, समझ आई? तो फिर अब
तो
ये हो रहा है, राइट? अब आपको सही से पता चलेगा कि हम क्यों कहते हैं कि वी नीड द पावर ऑफ एटीपी इन कैल्विन साइकिल, क्योंकि हमें बहुत सारी चीजों के लिए एटीपी चाहिए। वी नीडेड टू मेक टीपी, वी नीडेड टू मेक टू रीजनरेट आरयूबीपी, दोनों चीजों के लिए, राइट? अच्छा, अब
सही
जब ये
है।
हो जाएगा, लेट्स सी कि अब इस टीपी से क्या हो रहा है, हाउ आर शुगर्स मेड फ्रॉम दिस टीपी। सो
Okay, some of the
ये तो
triosphosphate
ये
condense to become
अच्छा, यू वांट टू रीड दिस?
हम्म,
कहाँ
नहीं
कहाँ
नहीं
से
बस
पढ़ रहे हो?
मैं तो मेरी जो तो दोनों साथ खुली हुई थी तो मैं तो वो पढ़ रहा था।
अच्छा, ओके ओके, look at my screen right now.
हाइलाइटेड जो हाँ so the important point
हाँ, इस स्क्रीन, हाँ स्क्रीन को देखो तो यू कैन सी दिस इज द ओवरऑल इक्वेशन, पूरी टोटल इक्वेशन जो कि है शोइंग यू। हाँ, ठीक है। और इन्होंने इसको क्या किया है कि इसको द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दिस इक्वेशन एंड दिस इक्वेशन, ऑल्दो इतनी डिटेल से कोई नहीं पूछता, लेकिन जस्ट टेलिंग यू कि द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट टू नोट इज that 6 molecules of carbon dioxide have been used to make 2 molecules of a 3 carbon sugar triose phosphate. This equation can be
हाँ तो डिवाइड बाय
simplified।
6 कर दिया ना ये तो सही है।
हाँ, थोड़ा सिंप्लीफाई किया हुआ है, ठीक है,
सही
वरना
है
एक ही चीज है, ठीक है।
सही है।
अच्छा, अब नाउ लेट्स सी द समरी ऑफ फोटोसिंथेसिस। तो ओके, sugar is made during photosynthesis from carbon dioxide and water. The energy of the reaction comes from light, ठीक है, ये अब समरी है पूरा शुरू से लेकर आखिर तक। And this energy is stored within the sugar, which is an energy rich molecule. I'm reading from the SOPR, इसलिए मैंने ऊपर लिखा हुआ है excellent summary. It is important to realize that the energy in the sugar is the same energy that was initially in the form of solar energy. ठीक? What has photosynthesis done? Photosynthesis has transferred the energy from the light to the chemical energy in the sugar. And the transfer of light energy into chemical energy is achieved how? By chlorophyll working in association with other molecules, by photoactivation, isn't it? The whole process involves 2 stages known as light dependent and light independent. क्या किया हमने light dependent में? In light dependent reactions, the electrons pass from one electron to another along chains of ETCs, dropping in energy level with each move, and the energy release is used to make ATP and the electrons reduce NADP. Water is split into hydrogen and oxygen, and the electron is lost as a waste, and the oxygen is lost as a waste product. In the light independent reactions, the hydrogen attached to NADP and the ATP are used to reduce carbon dioxide to a 3 carbon sugar. तो जो हम जब पहली जो शुगर बनती है ना हमारी, वो C6H12O6 नहीं होती है, इट इज अ 3 कार्बन शुगर TP। उसका सिंपल फॉर्मूला ये है, बाद में वो बनती है ग्लूकोज और अलग अलग चीजें, राइट? यहाँ तक समझ आ गया?
Yes, one second, miss. It is important that the energy in the sugar is the same energy that in the form of light. Photosynthesis has transferred the energy from light to chemical energy. Transfer of light energy into chemical energy has the same. The whole process involves 2 stages known as light dependent, light independent. Independent electrons pass from electron. Water is split by into light independent. So yeah, miss, I get it. To form the 3 carbon. So yeah, I understand.
Get it?
Yeah.
Okay, so ठीक है। अच्छा, ये भी एक थोड़ा सा कर लेते हैं। देयर इज अ टेबल आल्सो एंड दिस इज फॉर यू, ओके, यू आर गोइंग टू डू इट योरसेल्फ। इट्स अ कंपैरिजन बिटवीन लाइट डिपेंडेंट रिएक्शंस एंड लाइट इंडिपेंडेंट रिएक्शन। तो फॉर एग्जांपल कि अगर डिटेल सा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है, ऐसे क्वेश्चन आ जाता है कि यू नो compare and contrast light dependent and light independent reactions. So you're going to write all this. Do you want to go through it right now? या मैं इसको skip कर दूं and you'll do it yourself?
एक सेकंड wait location नहीं miss, this is fine, like this is something I have to look at, ये तो कोई मुश्किल नहीं है.
You can do it yourself. अच्छा,
Exactly.
the thing which I want to do with you right now is कि ये हम सोचें कि what is going to happen, मतलब when we say that photosynthesis is the synthesis of glucose, तो हमने glucose तो बनाया नहीं है, हमने तो triose phosphate बना लिया, ठीक है? So why is that so? So can you read it yourself? यहाँ से थोड़ा सा कटा हुआ है. Can you read it out loud so that I can also listen? यहाँ से, if you have the textbook in front, although triose phosphate is the end product.
Although triose phosphate is the end product of Calvin cycle, it is not accumulated in large quantities since it is immediately converted to other products. So, although triose phosphate is the end product, say it is not accumulated since it is converted. Say the most familiar of these are glucose, sucrose, and starch and fatty acids. But fats, fatty acids, and amino acids are also made rapidly. Strictly speaking, photosynthesis can be regarded as complete once triose phosphate is made, because subsequent reactions can always occur, can occur in non-photosynthetic organisms like animals and fungi. However, it is important to show here how glycerate phosphate and triose phosphate can be used in the synthesis of all basic food requirements of plants. So,
okay, stop.
Yes, basically, essentially, हम ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि photosynthesis is once complete जब हमने हमारा जो TP है वो हमने बना दिया, basic not TP but हमने अपना जो 3 carbon molecule है वो हमने जब बना दिया, because then other independent reactions take place to then form like glucose, sucrose and starch and other things. So basically, हम जो ये कहते हैं ना photosynthesis is complete when it's C6H12O6, that's not true. It's complete जब हमारा TP बन गया.
Exactly. In fact, triose phosphate is the sugar, we can say it is the first sugar made in photosynthesis. And technically, we can say that photosynthesis has been achieved. And this is the, why do we say photosynthesis is now done? Because this is the reaction which is specific for plants, unique to plants. सिर्फ ये reaction plants के अंदर ही हो सकता है. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर आपके पास ये basic compound है, तो you can convert it to glucose. अब आपने जब glucose में convert कर दिया तो आपके पास suppose के 1000 molecules glucose को हो गए, तो glucose can be converted by combining it with fructose to sucrose, ठीक है ना? और फिर आप glucose से और बहुत कुछ कर सकते हो. Glucose can be combined with compounds like not amino acids, basically nitrogen or sulfur to make proteins. ठीक है? Glucose can also be converted to fats. ये सब क्यों? इसलिए कि हम जो plants खाते हैं ना, सिर्फ plants में glucose थोड़ी होता है, glucose भी होता है. For example, carrot के अंदर sucrose भी है. Peanut is also a plant, so peanut is rich in proteins. ठीक है? The olive seed and the sunflower seed is also a plant, so it is rich in fats. ठीक है? फिर ग्लूकोज के बहुत सारे ग्लूकोज के साथ कंबाइन होके, हजारों मॉलिक्यूल्स के साथ कंबाइन होके स्टार्च भी बन सकता है, सेल्यूलोज भी बन सकता है. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि all these reactions in which at least if we have glucose which is made, we can do anything with it. But technically, the process of photosynthesis finishes once TP is formed. TP बन गया, उसके बाद ये सारे रिएक्शन किसी में भी हो सकते हैं, हमारे अंदर भी हो सकते हैं,
because then independent reaction है ना, उसके बाद then हमारा लेना देना नहीं है ना, that's वो अपने reactions करेंगे.
Exactly, हमारा लेना देना नहीं है. बिल्कुल सही कहा.